So the Germans only had 20 odd years, maybe 30, to build up their institutions to protect themselves against the rise of authoritarianism. In this country, we've had a little bit longer to do that, to put up the guardrails, and we're seeing the results of that, I think, with the way the court systems are sort of fighting back. And so that's another reason why these protests, I think, are so important.
Protesting is a valid way. Peaceful protest is a valid way of showing people and the government what you stand for. Yep. And very happy and proud to do that today.
Hey everybody, welcome to an extremely special episode of People Fuss. Carrie Prince. For those in the audience that are only listening and not seeing, describe the image on the screen right now.
Well, depending on what your eyes first see, you might notice that we are in costume. Douglas has beautiful curls right above his ears, and we look like revolutionaries because today...
Yes, we attended the No Kings protest in Hollywood, as it happens. We attended the first, I should say, No Kings protest. The sign you see here is been reused now. It's our veteran sign. Been to 2 No Kings protests.
Yep. We both feel very strongly that protesting is a valid way. Peaceful protest is a valid way of showing people and the government what you stand for. Yep. And very happy and proud to do that today.
Carrie had the idea because we'd been admiring what's going on in Portland. We think the people wearing frog costumes and other goofy shit is the perfect way to take the piss out of this claim that the protests are violent, that Portland is a war zone, all that stuff.
Lots and lots of costumes. We saw other revolutionaries there. We saw suffragettes. We saw people in blow-up costumes. And
the Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. Oh, she was good. She was good. Yeah. So here's the thing about protest, and here's the thing. I've done a lot of them. Douglas has done a handful.
Maybe, yeah.
My family does them. My friends do them. Your family now does them. I mean, I think that although it is just marching around and asking for people to look at you and your sign, it is a really important connector and glue for big issues that affect large groups of people. And it's a great People Fuss topic because I always feel really connected and happy and unified with people when I protest for things I really believe in. And I mean, those things for me and today, and I'll ask you, Douglas, what you think too. For me today, the things that I felt really strongly about, and I've mentioned this before, is immigration. I do not like how we're going through immigration policy right now. I think it's horrible, and the way that we're treating people, and I saw an ICE ad on LinkedIn the other day, the amount of money they're trying to get people to like do these terrible things to other humans. I mean, it's awful. We're absolutely breaking every ethical and moral line. I mean, what we're doing to people is absolutely abominable. And I really disagree with that. I don't think that we have sound foreign policy. I don't think that we're making good decisions about corporate greed and things. I don't think we're making America healthier at all. I think RFK Jr. is doing a terrible job so far.
Yes, he is.
All the promises about making people healthier, not happening.
We don't think that circumcision causes autism.
Oh, that was a good sign today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who thought that anybody would have to say that sentence?
Yeah, and then I've mentioned this on some of my social media, but like the small business that I am a part of, tariffs and shipments from overseas are destroying small businesses, you guys. I feel it every day. I'm on the phone with either FedEx or UPS or DHL every day because something is stuck and everyone's overwhelmed and nobody wants to pay for stuff, and orders have gone down by more than 70% from a lot of these vendors. Our international relations are totally destroyed. We're a total mockery in other countries right now, and I have family overseas, and so this is all sort of verified by real people. Lots of bad things are happening and people are upset, and so we're all going out to march and protest together, some of us in costume because it is peaceful, it is nonviolent, it's a way of saying like, we are so sick of this.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we're unifying together to try and say something and change something so that we're really following those values of democracy.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about the No Kings protest is that it seems like a little bit of a contradiction. One is that it's a good focused kind of message, but at the same time, there's tons of different signs there, right? There's a lot of different issues that are at play right now.
Yeah.
You know, vaccines cause adults was one of our other favorite signs.
Good sign.
The stuff that you were talking about, tariffs, world reputation, that sort of thing. The sign, for those of you who are only listening, the sign that we have in our shot right now, it says due process is a right, not a privilege.
And why did we choose that sign?
For me, this is the foundational democratic tenet. Like you cannot have a democracy, you cannot have a free society without due process for everyone, right? If it only applies to citizens, like some people are claiming, then you can round up anyone you want. Because if you just simply point at them and say they aren't a citizen and non-citizens don't have due process, guess what? Citizens are going to get rounded up and shipped out.
Which is happening.
Which is happening. And, you know, it more than even something like free speech or freedom of religion, this is the one thing that cannot be infringed upon. If you think of something like free speech, think of a place like Germany. You can't do the Nazi salute. That's illegal. You can't fly the swastika. That's illegal. Those are violations of free speech. I would still argue that Germany is a free society and a democracy, right? But you cannot infringe at all on this principle that due process is a right for every human being, I think, on the planet, should be, but absolutely in the borders of our country. Every single person is entitled to due process. Without that, we do not have a free country, bottom line.
And we had a really beautiful experience today. The protest that we went to, there was a small meetup of like-minded people before that were making signs and chatting and just sort of like building solidarity with each other before going out. Because for some people, protesting is scary, and I get that. Once you've been to a few, especially in LA, like you realize it's just really magical and bonding, and you really feel like you're working towards a good cause. But one of the women at our small meetup was an immigration lawyer. Mm-hmm. And due process is being violated for lots of different people every day. Here's the second interesting thing. We stopped to get lunch. We got some chicken. I don't know if you saw my Instagram reel, but we stopped to get lunch, and behind us, there was a woman that was talking with her boyfriend or fiance, husband, somebody. She was Asian with a thick accent. And I only say this because it's relevant that he suddenly pointed out, for the few of us that were sitting down to eat lunch, hey, there's a Republican right here. And this is while there's like super loud noises of the protest and like honks and chants and like all this stuff. And I was like, well, that's okay. But she went on to explain that she doesn't like what's happening because she had to work so hard to get her green card, and she thinks other people do too. And
should have to work that hard.
Have to work that hard. And we've heard that excuse kind of from a lot of people that say, oh, well, everybody that is getting in trouble right now, you know, somehow has broken the law, which really is a civil violation, or, you know, deserves something bad to happen to them because they didn't follow the same rules that previous people did or that other people did. Mm-hmm. And she's using this one-to-one comparison. And I thought that was like a really interesting dichotomy that we saw today, because really all of us were just like, okay, thanks for sharing your story. Like there was nothing more than that. Like I think she was really surprised at how many people were out and upset. And she, in her mind, it was about this one issue that other people didn't work hard to get their green card. Now we know, and the news has covered it a ton, that it doesn't matter if you have your green card if you look Mexican in Los Angeles right now. Yeah. She's Asian, she's not Mexican. So I think
they're rounding people up at their immigration hearings. I mean,
if what's happening in the courts, in the court systems, as soon as people come out of their immigration hearings where they are trying to follow the rules and they are going through this process, they're being snatched and sent away without any means to call anybody they love. Nobody knows where they're going. People are screaming and crying for their loved ones because it's violating due process constantly. Even the judges in New York are freaking out because of what is happening. Yeah. And the immigration lawyer that we talked to today, luckily, she was also saying that when people go to a grand jury in any of these places, the jury knows what's up and they vote the right way, ethically and morally, because they know right now the system is rigged for anybody who is not a full U.S. citizen. Mm-hmm. So juries of people are actually standing up to some of the corruption that's going on. And a lot of these immigration attorneys are busting ass and winning their cases.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. I think one point of optimism that I like to point out, because I'm such a history nerd, people correctly point out that we are currently witnessing all of the hallmarks of fascism and the rise of fascism. And so it is very natural to draw comparisons to Nazi Germany and how the Nazis came to power in Germany, and they're using a lot of the same tactics. It is true. The difference, though, and this is an important one, is that Nazi Germany rose out of the ashes of the Weimar Republic, which was only around for 20 years. And before that, there was the Kaiser, right? It was a monarchy. So the Germans only had 20 odd years, maybe 30, to build up their institutions to protect themselves against the rise of authoritarianism. In this country, we've had a little bit longer to do that, to put up the guardrails, and we're seeing the results of that, I think, with the way the court systems are sort of fighting back. I'm sure there's plenty of points to be made about how they could be fighting back more, and judges sending out marshals to, enforce their rulings, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, I'm cautiously optimistic with how our institutions are weathering the storm right now. I think there is a long way to go, and the storm is not yet passed, not by a long shot. And so that's another reason why these protests, I think, are so important. What was your favorite part about today, being dressed up in a costume? What was your favorite part about that?
I do think there's a lot of power when you are crossing sidewalks and you're hearing people cheering and honking, and you really feel a sense of the boldness of being seen, and the idea that there are lots of people out there that are having feelings and they're brave enough to get out there. Actually,
committed to it. Yeah.
Some of my favorite things that I heard today, especially in the group beforehand, was I didn't think it was important to protest before, so I wasn't out here in June, but now I'm realizing I need to get out there. We heard that from more than a handful of people.
Yep.
And that makes me so happy, because sometimes when you're in your own bubble, and we know that we're in a liberal bubble in terms of where we live, right? But the idea that like you might be alone in your despair, that can be really isolating. And so then when you're around other people, I think people undervalue what happens to you when you go and even just talk with strangers and you realize that you have things in common in terms of your despair, because people are in a lot of despair right now. The economy is not getting better. I was just telling him this morning, Nestle's laying off 16,000 people. It's like another corporation that's
because they have to, because they want to make more money.
Right, letting AI take a bunch of jobs, not reskilling those workers, all doing it for profit. And a lot of people that are marching right now are feeling the squeeze of very wealthy people, Trump's family being one of them. They have multiplied their family wealth by billions since they have been in power. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
For me, similar to what you said, I think building the camaraderie, seeing people smiling at the effort that we put in, and how goofy I look with blush on and like curls on my sideburns. That was a lot of fun. But my favorite, I think, though, is the people that just kind of stood in front of us and just kind of smiled and drank us in and then turned around and kept on going with their day.
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm hoping to break through with is, I know even in my social circles, I have plenty of people that think all of this is overblown, and lots of liberal people, they can see like, oh, your life isn't that different yet. And no, this is making a big deal out of nothing. Most of these people are not brown people that live in sanctuary cities, right? Because if you were, then you'd be scared for your life. People are scared to speak Spanish here. People are scared to leave their home. I mean, if you are a brown person in a liberal city that has had these ICE raids, you have a different life. And I think it's very callous for people to go on with their lives acting like that's no big deal for a huge part. I mean, especially the Latino population in California is huge. And it's a huge part of our economy. It's a huge part of our community and our culture. And it's one that Douglas and I love dearly. Like, we treasure it. I was raised to love immigrants, and I say that like I realized that as an adult. We were brought up in this way to like really be curious and celebrate and love it and welcome it in and see how you can help people and
Yeah.
like where are those Christian values right now?
Yeah, I don't know. And then, my own personal experience of my own mini immigration story obviously has made me incredibly sympathetic to immigrants in general. But what you were saying earlier reminded me of a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it, going back to Nazi Germany. There's a really famous quote. First they came for the communists, and I said nothing because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't a trade unionist. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left to stop them. Seeing so many white people out there protesting on behalf of our brown neighbors, I think that lesson has really been taken to heart. It's like, yeah, right now they're not coming after white liberals directly, but they will if they can. So we can't let them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people would feel willing to connect with me in this way. But here's the thing, like my friend list contains a lot of people that are parents or people that I went to Christian school with when I was little. When I was little, I went to Christian school. A lot of those people are still Christian, conservative people. And I think that it freaks them out to see me as a very different adult than what they remember as a child. But what's funny is so many of those values are still the same for me. I believe in taking care of other people. All those things that I was taught that like Jesus valued when I was little, I don't ascribe to religion anymore, but I really absorbed those Christian values.
Gentle Jesus, meek and mild. Is there anything gentle, meek, or mild about Donald Trump's brand of Christianity?
Right. But I, as a sane person, like I listen to what Donald Trump and JD Vance and Stephen Miller say with their own mouths. I listen to it. I see what they write. I use my critical thinking and my judgment and my sweet Jesus Christian values that I was raised with as a child. And I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
I know it's wrong.
Yep. I that's why I think the biggest issue right now is that the Americans across the aisle, let's say, our neighbors that are under the sway of some very bad ideas right now, they have been conditioned to hate liberals more than they love this country.
And that, I mean, I think about that a lot. I think about like how much I see posting from the people that are like on the far right or the conservative or even the very libertarian side and the kinds of things they post. And there's this like smugness to posting about certain things. And I think like, wow, I am absolutely like part of the quote loony left. And so what you're saying is that me, the person who like volunteers for like foster kids and like believes in ethical business, running a small business, who like has donated time and money to anybody who needs it, who's like, I feel like I'm a connector. I feel like I'm constantly working towards quote Christian values, even if I don't ascribe to religion. Like you're talking about me. What are you saying?
Yeah. And by the way, where's my check from George Soros?
Oh, yeah.
Where the fuck is that?
Yeah, all those paid protesters out there.
God damn it.
We saw some really cute characters out there today. Like, we saw every age range. We saw babies to like 90 years old, I think. We saw some really cool people, all different ethnicities, all different sort of vibes.
We saw a frog, a chicken, a dinosaur,
unicorn.
a unicorn.
There was a Jesus and a Satan. I don't know what happened.
Oh, I didn't see a Satan.
Somebody said that Jesus and Satan were arguing on a corner, and then Satan like crossed the street. I think they were doing a whole bit.
That's
I don't know.
Hilarious. Jesus was toting around a basket full of water and handing out waters and sunscreen to people.
That's pretty cute.
Which, I thought was an appropriate thing for Jesus to be doing at a place like that. But no, apparently the people that are protesting today are paid actors. We only want free health care for illegal aliens. We hate America.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot, actually. The whole like when I look at comments, because I'm definitely a peruser of comments on things. believing that liberals have shut down the government because they want free health care for illegal aliens is like one of the weird, stupid narratives. I've never heard any liberal friend of mine ever say, I'm just so glad we have free health care for illegal aliens. I've never heard someone say that. They're generally talking about access to health care for people without money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of free health care for undocumented people in the same way that I'm in favor of free health care for everyone in this country.
Yeah, the undocumented thing is weird because that really is a line for people, isn't it? Like, oh, if you're
get
here
it,
without proper
but
paperwork, you deserve to die.
Go look at the numbers, right? Like undocumented people pay so much in taxes by working here, buying here, renting. You know what I mean? Like they live here. You cannot exist in modern society without paying taxes, right? What did Benjamin Franklin say? I think it was Benjamin Franklin. The only two things that are certain in life are death and taxes.
I want to talk about the money funnel for just a second. People think undocumented immigrants are taking all this money and not paying taxes and like getting free healthcare and all this stuff. Actually, they're paying taxes and not benefiting from a ton of things that other people would get when they're older. Now that we're jailing all of them, we're missing out on the tax money that would benefit everyone. And all the money is going towards private prisons who are benefiting from all of these horrible places where people are detained, stripped naked, not given cots to sleep on, like not given their medication, Alligator Alcatraz, and all the others. They're investing billions in these private prisons, which actually the private prisons are kind of pissed off because they were promised a bunch and then invested a bunch and now it's not happening.
Good.
But the money funnel doesn't make sense. Like, I can absolutely agree that there needs to be a better process for becoming a citizen, and that has changed over the years. So someone who got their green card 30 years ago through a certain process, it is not the same as today. Even 10 years ago, even 4 years ago. The process changes all the time. So you can't say, oh, I did it this way, you should do it that way. It doesn't exist anymore.
Speaking of money funnels, I don't know if this is true. I should have looked it up, but I know that we are now talking about sending another bunch of money to Argentina. So I think a total of $40 billion to Argentina. And I think the total USAID budget, the USAID budget, I don't know how you say that, but was like $35 billion. So, make that make sense. It doesn't. It's not about money. It's just about power. And like I said, I'm convinced now that people just have been conditioned to hate liberals more than they love America, more than anything. They just hate liberals. They've been conditioned to hate us.
And I will say on the other side, I am really sad and disappointed to see so many liberal people posting about hating the other side too. Like, I have to be fair when I talk about that. Sure. It breaks my heart when I see people that are upset and they take that anger and that frustration and they say, everyone who voted this way is a blank. They group people together, call them a name, and then banish them forever. And that is not the way. It's not the way.
And that's why I've been trying to frame it the way I've been framing it in this episode, is that these are our neighbors who are simply under the sway of some really bad ideas. And if you want to live in a world that has forgiveness and redemption, not in the religious sense, just that people can be brought back into the fold, then we need to start finding ways to extend olive branches to the other side, or at least make it more welcoming for them to come back to sanity, really. Yeah. And then we can talk about how to fix immigration. Go back to the normal political debates that we used to have.
Yeah, usually it's like, okay, how are we going to like agree on the nuance within this sort of margin of error? And now everyone's on such crazy different sides, but again, today was a really telling indication that I think the resistance, for lack of a better word, is growing. People are getting braver to speak up and put their bodies on the line. It's one of the hardest things to do. Like, if you feel something in your heart that something's wrong, I think taking action is a really hard thing to do. So should we talk about call to action today?
Sure.
If you feel that something is wrong with the country, I would encourage you to sign up for Vote Save America.
Yeah.
We have volunteered with them several times, and I wanted to just like talk to you about the experience that we had today, which is we were in a normal person's backyard, right? She had offered to host this
She had mimosas.
meetup. She had mimosas. Yeah. She'd offered to host this meetup, and there was just like 10 to 20 people there, and we're just like chatting and talking, and it was really lovely and sweet. It wasn't like all of us bashing Republicans. It wasn't that. It was like concern for two of the people were crying because their grandfathers almost starved to death under fascist regimes, and they heard stories, and they feel that what's happening here is edging towards that. And they were getting emotional looking at how many people really did care. They care about what we're hearing. I think it's not a small thing that the people in charge over and over again have such strong hypocrisy for when our side is mean or does it. It's just boys being boys, or it's just whatever. But when liberals, I don't know, dress in frog costumes, you know, or
Violent, anti-American.
It's violent and anti-American. Yeah, I don't know. But there's disconnect in the media world too. So what could be grounding for you if you feel that something is off, whatever side you're on. I personally don't care who you voted for. I don't care what your label is. If you feel that something is wrong, to join Vote Save America and just go to some of these events and just chat with people and like try and understand who they are and what they're concerned about.
Meet your neighbors.
Meet your neighbors. Do it on a small local level. It's a safe place to talk politics. It's a great space to like actually go and you can feel comfortable talking about your concerns and about politics.
Yeah, learn about resources and calls to action from other people as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I was super thankful today, and you know, it definitely makes me fiery and spicy, but
I couldn't tell.
I know. But like I also like we are the crazy, you know, loony liberals or whatever that the leadership of the country is talking about, and I promise you we're not crazy. We're actually just like trying to help people all the time.
Yeah, we're doing what we think is the Christian thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So for that special episode of People Fuss, that is my call to action, is to join Vote Save America. Get out there and protest with us for the next one. We would love to see you out there, costume or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so People Fuss is a tight-knit production produced by yours truly, Carrie Prince.
And Doug Daniel.
With editing supervision by Mary Wen. Our theme color. I was going to say our theme color. What is our theme color?
Yellow, red, blue, white, and black.
Today it's this. But no, our theme song is Human Colors by Delicate Beats. And we do have a bit of a fun cat fact for the day that you don't know about.
Oh, shit.
My newly adopted nephew, he just got a desk that has a little cat hole in it.
Really?
And one of their cats is actually using it, and its little cat face just peeks right out of the little cat hole when he's at his desk.
We need to put that picture up.
I know. I have one, so I'll share it. So thank you for listening. We hope that we see you out there. Yay, America. Yay, democracy. We love you guys.
It's working.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.